This next song was a million seller for me in Europe in 1969. At the same time, I was with a group called the Sir Douglas Quintet, and we had a hit record called Mendocino. I was the bass player on that song with a bunch of great cats from Texas. And this song here that I wrote is a true story about growing up here in New Mexico. And I was raised by the Navajos a little bit. I lived close by them, and I used to fish and hunt with Navajos. And we used to have a good time at the San Juan River. I'm sure you all know where the San Juan River is here in Albuquerque, and I'm sure you guys had a lot of fun fishing and swimming in the San Juan River. We sure did. Anyway, this little song is a true story about Heya. It's a Navajo chant, and it goes something like this. Heya, 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 heya. Heya, 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 heya. I was there when the little kids were doing their heya, heya, heya. Dancing around in a circle, doing their snake dance. Heya, heya, heya. Heya, 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 heya. Heya, 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 heya. I had a jacket from the back of a box. Oh, 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 oh. A warrior and a hunter were my only friends. Oh, 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 oh. Hey, 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 hey. Heya, 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 heya. I want to be a civilized man, but no one is sane enough to show me how I can. Heya, 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 heya. Heya, 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 heya. Fishing along the San Juan River, I was smoking driftwood. Oh, 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 oh. I was there when the little kids were doing their heya, heya, heya. Heya, 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 heya. Heya, 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 heya. Heya, 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 heya. Heya, 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 heya. Heya, 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 hey. Woo!
Woo! All right, a couple of burners from Jimmy Stallings and Jeremy Barnes here in Studio A, Afternoon Freeform. So, 1969, 50 years ago.
50 years ago.
50 years ago. Became a number one hit for you in Europe and was very popular. And
Under the name of J.J. Light.
yeah, JJ Light. What's what you have you always
Well,
recorded under that name or?
Well, I recorded that hit record under that name. My producer thought that Jimmy Stallings didn't sound Indian enough, so we went and chose J.J. Light, and that's how I got the name.
Yeah, and JJ meaning
Jimmy
came from
James.
Jimmy James. That's right. And
They call me James in Farmington. In California, they call me Jimmy, so I said J.J. Light.
that's right. And so JJ Light, that's Navajo enough for people who don't know any better, or
I don't know if it's Navajo or what, but it's a name.
yeah, it is a name. Yeah. And so how did that song do in the States? Was it
It
received
never
as
was released here in the States except with the group called El Quintet.
Yeah.
And that was part of the Sir Douglas Quintet, and we went in the studio and cut this group called El Quintet without Doug Somm, who was the leader of the Sir Douglas Quintet.
Yeah.
Great cat, man. He's missed a lot right now, but he's
Yeah.
he's in a good place, I know, and he's waiting for some of his buddies to get back up there with him too.
Right. Jeremy, you've toured a lot in Europe with various configurations, a hawk and a hacksaw, which is like really tied to Eastern European music. Why is it, do you think, that sometimes artists from America have to go to Europe to get appreciation and love? Like,
That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer to it. Yeah, there's so many examples, though. Even Jimi Hendrix went to England to, find fame and fortune. It's bizarre.
yeah. It's
I don't know
weird.
what it is, Yeah, I have no idea. But Jimmy and I have some sort of similar experiences. You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
sometimes
over there, I think they're very receptive about music that's different, and
Yeah.
that's what captured Heya. There's a true story about my friend Jimmy George, who wrote Just to See Her for Smokey Robertson. He was with the Beach Boys at that time, and he said he went to England. When he went over there, he said that the taxi cab driver was singing my song.
Wow.
And he said, wow, he said, hey, man, what song is that you're singing? And the taxi cab said, this is my favorite song. He said, this is by J.J. Light. Hey, and Jimmy just flipped out. He couldn't believe that.
That's
you know.
amazing. All right. Well, we should mention, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that Jimmy and Jeremy are going to be playing at Steelbender on August 20th at 6 p.m. And this is at 8305 2nd Street Northwest in Los Ranchos de Albuquerque. And Jeremy, I know you can be followed, A Hawk and a Hacksaw can be followed on Facebook. And then you have your website for lmduplication.com for your record label. Jimmy, do you have any social media? Where can people kind of stalk you and track you? And all
Well,
that kind of
I
stuff?
just released my gospel album right now. I just received it a couple of weeks ago. And Jeremy helped me with it a lot. He's great on producing.
and Jimmy's
writing.
on Facebook. You can find him on Facebook. It's Jimmy Stallings.
Go to Cult Scoop magazine.
Yeah.
They did some interviews on me
Yeah, those were good interviews. How long ago were those from?
about 2 years ago.
That was great. Yeah, they mentioned your autobiography.
Well, I'm starting a book. I don't know if I'll ever finish it.
Oh, it's
but-
not done yet.
You got the
But-
best title, though. You've got the best title. For
Well,
it.
it's
Yeah.
called Success, My Biggest Failure,
Yeah.
which it was. When I had success, I lost it 2 or 3 times because of where my head was.
Did it go to your head or what?
Yeah. No, it didn't go to my head. It's just wrong company, wrong people.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, it's part of life. That's the way that it was back then in them days. It was kind of scary, but it was a good trip, and I learned a lot from it, and I appreciate everything I've been through.
Yeah. Have you been writing music steadily since those?
I've been writing music all my life.
Yeah, you never stopped.
I
huh?
never stopped.
I always
love
tell
it.
Jimmy that he sometimes he talks to me about maybe one day we'll make it and we'll make it in the business. And I always say, Jimmy, you've made it, man. You've been married to the same wife for 56 years. You raised 3 kids. You're still writing great songs. That's what every musician wants and needs, I think. And so many people from his era struggled with so much, and Jimmy's kept it all together, and he just keeps going. So
Well,
I
I'm
think
an
he
old
made
man. You got to give me a break.
You don't seem. I mean, there's the years and then there's the miles, and maybe you got a lot of both, but you also have a lot of vitality.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
right. He does.
Thank you.
And a lot of stories. And probably you have some Hollywood stories because you ended up in some films.
I did Natalie Wood with Peter Falk. I was in Penelope with Natalie Wood. I did Gene Hackman and Chris Christopherson. The Sir Douglas Quintet was in that movie, and Doug did some acting in it.
Cisco Pike.
Cisco Pike.
Yeah, I was looking at the preview on that on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a great.
Yeah, that's a good film.
Karen Black was in it, and Chris and I've been friends. We played a Hollywood party for Barbara Streisand. Party there one time over there in Rodale, there in Santa Monica, up around that area in Beverly Hills, and Chris came in, and that's just when he was doing that Star is Born.
Yeah.
And it was a great show. I saw Leon Russell there, a lot of people there. It was great.
And were you like there was a mention of a television show as well? Was there
I was
like
I was in a television show called The Squirrel World of Ed Butler, and Portia Nelson and Susan Harris were the producers of it, and it was kind of a variety show. We had Natalie Wood, Sal Mineo, and different people on it, and it was a great interest to me. At the time, I was playing in Reno, Nevada, and me and my friend Dave Talisman, we were playing in a group up there, and we'd fly back every other day to California, to L.A., and do the show, Squirrel of Ed Butler. And we had a group called the Sons of Liberty at that time. And it consists of an Italian, a Mexican, an Indian, a Jewish boy. It was just a mixture of like the melting pot.
Yeah. I really like that. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say there's some great footage on YouTube of Jimmy playing with the Sir Douglas Quintet from a TV show called Playboy After Dark,
Hugh Hefner.
which was Hugh Hefner. Amazingly, he had a show, I guess, in the 60s.
Of course.
And they had good bands play. They had a lot of great bands, and Jimmy's on there playing with Sir Douglas Quintet.
Wow.
You can find that on YouTube if you search Mendocino, the name of their song.
All right. I meant to ask you, I grew up partly in Gallup, New Mexico.
Oh, did you?
That seems like your song Gallup, New Mexico about your dad. It just seemed so Gallup as far as the, I don't know, the potential for
The
tragic stories sometimes in
Yeah.
Gallup. But it was a really intense song. What was the emotion when you first wrote that? What were you expressing? What were you?
Well, I just wrote the truth. I didn't know what caused my dad's death at the time, and I remember people telling me, my aunt and uncle, that he was killed by some unknown, and he was drunk with all his friends or whatever, And I just decided to write a song about my dad, and that's what I just titled it, Gallup, New Mexico, because I used to go watch the Navajos. That's how Heya came. I used to watch the Navajo ceremonies there. My mom would take me from Farmington to Gallup, and we would all go to the ceremonies. And I remember the little kids doing their Heya, Heya, Hey. And that's how my producer, Bob Markley, he's went and told me, you should write something about your people. And I says, I don't know what. And then I thought, well, I remember Heya, and that's how it was born. I just started writing it.
Yeah. And you wrote that while you were in Los Angeles, so you kind of
Yes,
took that
I lived
back
in Los
with
Angeles
you.
for 40 years.
So you didn't let L.A. completely just like take over your culture.
No, I
your-
came back. It's funny how you can go travel all over the world and find out that you had it in your own backyard all the time.
That's right.
That's
Right here in New Mexico, and it's a great place to live. It's a great place, great people, the chili and everything. I love it here.
You can
Yeah.
take us out of New Mexico, but you can't take New Mexico out of us.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
true.
All right, my guest today in the studio, Jeremy Barnes, who you know from many different musical configurations, Neutral Milk Hotel, Hawk and a Hacksaw, solo work, Dietrich and Barnes, the record label that he has with Heather Trost, LM Duplication, which you can find bands like Lone Pinon, New Mexico-based band, Dietrich and Barnes, Heather Trost's solo album, Hawk and a Hacksaw. You can go to lmduplication.com for more information on that. And Jimmy Stallings, a.k.a. JJ Light. You can catch them both on August 20th at 6 p.m. at 8305 2nd Street Northwest at Steelbender, Los Ranchos de Albuquerque. And there is a Facebook page, and Jimmy is on Facebook. And I've noticed you over the last year and a half, I've noticed some posts from Jeremy posting when you're playing, so people can track you down.
Yeah, we want to play more. So anyone out there, if they have a birthday party or anything they want us to play at, we'll do it, right, Jimmy?
That's right.
All right, track them down.
Two hombres hired for pickup change.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.